Today's a moving to Spain webinar. It's focus on the sort of journey, the options, the process in moving to Spain and how we can help. We'll give a brief introduction and then a very important point. There's a live question and answers section on the webinar. So you'll see a Q&A box. Guys, feel free to jump in with any questions or queries at any point, and we'll try to cover them off. Just to be clear as well, you're going to have all of our contact information, and we do open the idea of having a consultation after, whether that be with both of us or one of us. We're here to help. So those of you who don't know myself, my name is Remy Hart, as you can probably tell from the webinar details and the name on the screen. I'm a British expat myself. I've been in Spain 6.5 years. I work for Holborn Assets as a senior wealth manager. Not a big fan of the word senior, given that I'm 36 years old, but I think I've been in the industry a while now, and I'm a fully qualified financial advisor. Personally specialize in savings, investments, pensions, and my main jurisdictions are France, Spain, Portugal. I'm based in Spain myself. I'm in the Costa del Sol, just in between Malaga and Marbella. It's our EU office in Spain. And yeah, look, predominantly specialize in helping expatriates in that relocation process and establishing their wealth, whether that's savings in tax efficient vehicles or pensions and the restructuring or the management of ongoing pensions, property investments, fixed interest, visas and citizenship. We specialize as a company, but more the golden visa route, which, as Colin and Venetia are probably aware of, is coming to an end in Spain. And yeah, as I said, we've got Colin and Venetia joined us today. So guys, I really appreciate your time. Do you want to give us a brief introduction to yourselves and XPay as a company?
Hi, thanks, Remy. I'm Venetia, and this is Colin, who works with me. We are XPay. Primarily, we're UK Spanish accountants, but again, after living here for quite a few years, we've come to realise that a lot of English and Americans need a little bit of help to get over here. And the main visa that is being used is the non-lucrative visa. It's no working, and it's usually classed as a retirement visa, but basically it just means that you cannot work on it. But it's a most used visa and quite simple to get in.
What's the main sort of area you specialize in, though? Is this sort of the visa and immigration, right? You mentioned a tax and accountancy. Is that an arm to the business you can help and assist with?
Yes, it is. It goes along with the NLV usually when we talk about what they need to do back in the UK to deregister and then to register again once in Spain. But basically, we specialise in the non-lucrative visa itself. Okay.
So I think majority of the registrations today are British and US clients. Yeah. Some in the EU. You can help people in the EU, though, pretty much.
Yes, we also were able to help EU people who are able to travel through the Schengen zone, and they need it's required to stay in Spain for longer than 90 days, then to register for the EU residency, which we can assist with. And on that, they can also bring in their families, spouses for non-EU as well. Makes it more simple.
Perfect. And digital nomad visas is something you help with? Any type of visa really to get into Spain, right?
Yeah. We've always got someone on the team who we can put in touch with, who can discuss any type of visa that they require.
So you mentioned the non-lucrative visa, obviously the most popular choice. I think questioning how much you processed in 2024. It's quite a big number, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did over 1,000 in 2024. Previous to that, we have done more, especially when it first started. It was a big seller for that, people coming in. They wanted to get away from the UK, being the weather was bad and everything. Now it's steady and people are still wanting to come in. So yeah, we're here to help them if they need any advice.
We seem to be getting quite a few inquiries or queries from the US. Bit of a change of government there, and people quite keen on the move now. So you met the non-lucrative visa, obviously the main parts: non-EU nationality, no employment, so it means they can't work when they're in Spain, and financially self-sufficient. So just to touch on that, my understanding is they need to show and prove a sufficient savings or income, right?
Yes, they need to show, at the moment, the IPREM is 28,800 for it, which is 4 times the IPREM of 7,200 per person. That's
Okay.
the first person, they will need 4 times that amount, and then subsequent family members would just need the smaller amount to enter Spain.
Okay. So if they've got 5 children and a couple, they're looking at 7,200 per child.
Yeah.
Okay. And this can be demonstrated bank accounts, liquid savings, investment portfolios. I know we've worked on
Yes,
stuff
yeah.
together.
Anything that is easily obtainable for the first, 28,000 and then the subsequent 7,200, if that's available
Yeah.
across what we've got, then yeah, they will be accepted with that.
This is 2024 figures and current up to date, but I guess that may change over time. Health insurance is a big part of this sort of process, and most
Yes,
visas.
yeah, they need to have full health insurance with a Spanish company or compliant with Spain.
Okay.
No payments. It's got to have accident and emergencies. There's a list on it, and it's just one of the requirements that they want for the visa itself.
And you help with the whole process, right?
Yeah, we do
You're on.
everything that everyone requires. We will make sure that they have all the information too. Most of it we do get ourselves for the client, so they don't really have to do much themselves and just be there for when we need any answers from them.
So you give them a whole checklist, you sort of package up the case ready to be
Yes.
sent to the consulate in the UK or the US, wherever it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
and explain everything to them, what they need to take with them and get it all ready, apostle, translated. So they're not on their own, they're with us until they get to Spain and they
yeah.
have the TIE cards in their hands.
Yeah, it sounds like a sort of full end-to-end service and
Yes.
holding their hand along the way. I had some really, really good reviews, a lot of clients working with yourselves. And I think the only sort of kickback you get is from the immigration officers themselves, right? And any sort of delay process around that. But um, you're there
Yeah,
to,
many of the clients stay with us throughout. They'll go through the renewals with us. We do the taxes for them for the UK if they want to finish that, and then any Spanish taxes that they come to. And obviously, we've got you on board. We can advertise for. We can offer the financial packages with yourselves. So
yeah.
yeah, we've always got someone we can get hold of, and if they need someone else to speak to about the process.
End to end. And the renewals is an important part too. I know we work together on that, showcasing people have enough money for year 2, year 3. It's all part of the sort of package, right? You're going to
Yeah.
help them from start to end. So look, there's different options available. Obviously, if you're coming to Spain to work, the NLV is not going to be good for you. You look at the digital nomad visa. The point is here to have a conversation with you guys, right? It starts with a initial consultation like this. If I was in a client's shoes, speak to you, work out the situation, work out the objectives. You come back to them with the options available best for their family and their situation, and then all the documents and information they need, right? Can you hear me, guys? Is that okay?
We just lost you for a second there. Sorry, Remy.
But it starts with that initial consultation, right? To find out who they are, what they need, what their situation's like, what options are going to be best for them. It's fine. I think you're up in the hills in Murcia from the Home Office today, and the connection's sort of in and out. But I guess that leads me nicely on to investments, pensions. This is a bit of sort of focus here on the UK, but as I mentioned, there's quite a few American clients on the call today and who are registered. The investment and retirement planning advice is somewhat different. So please separate this when I talk about it. When we look at the UK and we talk about any savings, investments, pensions, the best thing you can do as a then expat in Spain would be to transfer your assets. And sometimes that's more of a sort of restructuring, whereas you have an ISA in the UK, a private pension, a SIP. These are good and useful tax efficient vehicles in the UK. Once you leave the UK and move to Spain, for example, they lose their tax benefits. And certainly there's alternative options. There's Spanish tax compliant investment vehicles. There's international SIPs for a pension. There used to be a QROPS, there still is, but we don't recommend that anymore. So the point there is, again, to have a free sort of consultation with myself. We look at how you have your assets arranged at the moment, what your situation is, what your objectives are, when you're planning to move, and help you restructure those assets in line with that transition to Spain. Again, Colin and Venetia mentioned around the tax consultancy. They certainly look after the reporting element of that on an annual basis and help with that process. I work closely with a lot of cross-border tax accountants who specialize in this advice, who can assist you with the transfer of business, the transfer of assets, the timing of your move. There's a comment in the corner around pension commencement lump sums. Again, UK based. If you've got a 25% tax-free allowance, you take that in the UK prior to moving. If you decided to take it when you move to Spain, you would be taxed in Spain. So there's a lot to sort of think about, a lot to work out as far as capital gains. When it comes to the US, the advice, generally speaking, majority of the time, is to keep your assets in place. Once you leave the US, you still, as you're probably aware, will have to report to the IRS. So restructuring of assets is not entirely a big thing. It's more about the ongoing servicing and management of the portfolios, the IRAs, the 401ks, and the options you have available once you leave the US. And we've got an in-house US team. We've got basically a US arm to the business who specialize in this area. And again, we'll be happy to have a conversation to look at options, to look at ongoing management. We have a license we operate in 150 countries, and a US arm to the business is very key for that transition to Europe. Not everyone in Europe has that, and we're very highly regulated and licensed to give this advice. We have 22 offices around the world. We look after 3 billion of assets, and 20,000 clients. We're quite a big firm. So there's plenty of people and support to assist with that transition. But certainly both the UK, both the US, or anywhere in Europe, pre-planning is key. As I said, have a conversation with XPay, work out your visa options, work out what's going to be the best route for you. Again, we can liaise with cross-border tax specialists to look at, releasing money from properties, selling down any assets, before the move, making sure you do it in the right tax year and you're not a Spanish tax resident, for example. And then we'll have a conversation to look at your finances, savings, investments, pensions, even property investment arm to our business that we can help with for a full sort of diversification, looking at the full portfolio. That first step is obviously having that consultation. Whatever your objectives are, whether it's education planning, inheritance planning, certainly better ways to structure your assets or look after your assets in Spain. And we can help with the will writing. We've got lots of professional contacts between us on the coast, all the way from Cadiz to Valencia, I'm sure, even inland, that can support that. We certainly don't work for the Spanish Tourism Board. We're not here to sell you on Spain and why you should come here. Look out the windows and what we can see right now is sunny. That's probably why you want to move here, and way of life and perhaps cost of living too. But if there's anything you need as far as, again, touches on here, property search, health insurance to help with the NLV, whatever it is, car rental, school searching, let us know. We know so many people, but that initial move and the first steps are the visa, immigration, how do we get into the country, financial planning, certainly we can help with when you start looking for a house. As I said, we've got lots of contacts. We've got some questions coming in. Let's have a look. Does the 183 days in Spain need to be consecutive? So I think this is regarding the non-lucrative visa. One of the rules is NLV holders need to spend at least 183 days in Spain, making them tax residents. Does it need to be consecutive?
The thing is, with Spain, we do our accounts go from January to December. So it's got to be the all of the 183 days. It doesn't have to be consecutive, no, but you would have to keep on your timings if you want to miss that. Many non-EU are not allowed to stay longer than 90 days anyway, so it wouldn't be for them.
So it's during a tax year in Spain, which is
yes.
A calendar year, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And people mention about going on holidays, and then they're scared that they would get taxed on that if they subsequently become a resident. It doesn't work like that because they still owe the taxes to the home country, which would be the UK or the USA.
Okay. We had someone mention the process as far as the non-lucrative visa. Again, that is pretty straightforward, right? Well, I say that. The first part is straightforward. Having a conversation with you guys, understanding what you need, and you guys support with that packaging process, right? Ensuring they've got the whole checklist.
Yeah, yeah. And then if they need any further advice, we're here for them all the time. We can discuss with them and have conversations. If they've got any worries, they can just get hold of us at any time. We can sort it out for them. We also would recommend talking to people like yourselves who can help them with any finance problems that they may have.
Okay. We get it quite a lot. That initial sort of the idea is the starting point, right? But the initial processing of what the journey looks like, obviously establishing the visa, finding a property, but even before the property search, where we can come in and support you is looking at how you have your assets established at the moment, what you have in place, what your income looks like, what it will look like in Spain, what vehicles you have, and what the tax difference will be as far as you receiving pension income in the UK or receiving property investment income, savings income would look completely different in Spain. And that's where we can help and look at alternative Spanish tax compliant investment vehicles that not only are very tax efficient when it comes to income and taking a regular sort of withdrawal, also succession planning and making sure monies are passed on to loved ones in an easy tax efficient manner. A tax accountancy question again, more tax, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a tax advisor. Are you guys the same, right? We're not qualified tax advisors.
No. I would always recommend go to a financial advisor to discuss any serious issues about taxes.
We work, as I said, closely with a few companies that specialize in cross-border tax advice from the UK or from the US. Those conversations are important to start, right? Figuring out when you're going to become a Spanish tax resident, what part of the year, what best to do with the pensions as far as taking the lump sums. As I said, if you take the pension lump sum or you're taking income, when do you don't want to be caught twice in Spain and have a tax liability, where a tax-free lump sum in the UK won't be tax-free in Spain. These are the sort of questions and queries you need to work out and have these discussions around. And look, the purpose of my initial call, and there's certainly no cost involved, and there's no obligation to take my advice or recommendations. I'll go into what we call a fact-finding process. So that will allow me to work out your entire situation, what your objectives are, what your risk mandate is, how you have your assets arranged, most importantly, sort of where you want to be in the future. And we'll go through it in quite a bit of detail. Following that, it will allow me to populate or send any advice based on your current circumstances. It may be a case that the advice is better suited when you're in the transition on the sort of final stage to Spain. But there's certainly ways to better your situation whilst in the UK or the US. Again, they're quite different, right? Because the US, we can start beginning that ongoing service and management process. Someone mentioned annuities in the live chat. Annuities is slightly different. I have a different view on that from the UK to the US. US is very favorable. The idea of annuity is great, right? You get a pension income fixed for the rest of your life. The problem and difference with the UK is the UK pension dies with you. The US annuity funds have death benefits, so you can pass on the money as well. So it's a bit of a win-win there. We've got one. We are selling our home in the US, plan to travel to Spain to look for a property. Do not want to apply for an NLV until 2026 for tax reasons. We know we need to observe the 180 rule in the meantime. However, wanted to know if we can apply for the NLV in Spain or if we need to do it in the US. It doesn't matter where they are or where they're based as far as the application process.
They have to be in the home country. They have to be a resident in the home country or a national of that country to apply for the NLV. They cannot apply for it in Spain, only in renewals.
And they have to go to their consulate themselves with the paperwork and
Yes, they have to be in person. Every person has to attend, even children, if they're applying to, every person has to attend. They have to make sure it's them what applying for the visa itself.
okay, perfect. I have a non-lucrative visa and I'm about to renew for years 2 and 3, thanks to Venetia. Oh, there you go. When do I need to move my UK investment savings to Spain, or can I keep my investments in the UK? Very good question. You can certainly keep your investments in the UK, but again, purpose of these conversations, Andrew, we'll have a one-on-one there, is just to see what you've got in place, how they're structured, what the tax looks like from a reporting, if you're taking an income, and certainly if there's better ways, we'll provide you that free advice. Again, there's no cost, there's no obligation. I'll send you a formal recommendation outlining the options and what we would view as best to set up your assets. Again, if you can do nothing, it's a simple way. Some people like to close a blind eye to their finances. Certainly doesn't help in the long run, and from a UK perspective, will just simply swell your estate and cause you tax issues down the line. But there's better ways. If you, again, depending if you want an income generating investment vehicle or you're looking for a legacy for your children, have a conversation, see what options are available. Again, depending on your risk tolerance, if you want like a fixed interest or a really low risk, cautious fund that just generates a return, great. Or if you want a more adventurous double-digit returns, get in touch. Don't ask me about cryptocurrency. I can't formally advise that, and I do have a bit myself, but we can't get into the intricacies of that. Could you please elaborate on the issue of holiday days not being counted towards the 183 days / Spanish tax residency?
Is what it is. People are listening to rumours about if you've been on holiday while after you've gone in process for your visa, the days on holiday will count towards the 183 days as the tax days. They don't, because at that time you're a resident at your home country. So if you're a resident in the UK, you're still a taxpayer in the UK, and the UK will still want paying for that tax time you're in there. So it won't cross over onto the Spanish taxes unless you're here over the 183 days.
I did, in brackets, it did say everything else I've read about this says that holidays are counted. Can this be avoided? So there's a lot of stuff online.
Yeah, a lot of incorrect information online. So it shouldn't be counted. It would take a court of law for them to say, yes, you owe me tax because you was here for 2 weeks on your vacation. However, if you're thinking of doing 3 months and then coming in and trying to be a bit cheeky and saying, yeah, I'm going to do me on 3 days and me 3 months, then that would probably cross the line. So you've got to be careful.
I know you've got an online forum, Venetia and Colin. It's pretty good. It's I don't know if you don't mind me saying this, but people to join that would be quite useful because you share a lot of useful information.
Yeah, we're happy to answer questions on there all the time. There's more of the team who's able to answer when I'm not around, so it's a good place to get answers.
So it's called Venga Spain from memory.
Yes.
It's a Facebook group, and there's a few thousand members on there if I remember. So really good place to get stuff answered. But as I said, guys, we're going to share all our contact information. Feel free to get in touch with any queries. What's probably best in both of our scenarios is if you outline what your situation is, what your assets are, for example, and what you're hoping to achieve, we could then have a follow-up meeting to discuss potential options. I have a Spanish partner with Spanish passport. We both live in the UK with our child and plan to move to Spain. Should we do the family reunification visa in the UK first, or when we get to Spain? Is that a personal one, Venetia? Direct sort of.
What was that again? Sorry, I didn't quite hear.
A Spanish partner with a Spanish passport. We both live in the UK with our child and plan to move to Spain. Should we do the family reunification visa in the UK or when we get to Spain?
In Spain. It is to be done in Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is drawdown from a UK SIPP taxed as personal income or the lower rate investment income? Amanda, this is when you're in Spain, I'm assuming. Again, have a conversation with me. I'm not a qualified tax advisor. We'll work out your individual. There's another one on UK SIP, taxes income. Again, let's have a conversation after. You're going to have my details after the call. If you're in the UK or Spain, taking an income from a pension is taxed at a progressive rate. You mentioned ISAs gain interest. What about a SIP? Is it the same? Again, let's have a conversation, work out where your assets are placed, what income you're taking from them. Is it better ways to take income from elsewhere, and so on and so on. Those consultations cost absolutely nothing, like this webinar. We're here to help. If we can provide guidance, support, and options, certainly we're happy to do so. We're both businesses. We do get paid. Obviously, if you do decide to go ahead with us, I won't touch on Venetia and Collins and XPay, but they provide a service and they charge for it. With myself, if you're happy to go ahead with the business, the charges are all detailed, and we can go through that in more detail on a follow-up call. But I think that's pretty much most of the questions for today. I think we are coming up to the half an hour mark, which is a nice time. There's a few questions, again, reasonably personal and quite lengthy. So guys, we encourage you to get in touch with myself or XPay for the more detailed, objectives, I guess, and situations. And as I said, once we've had those consultations, we'll best position you to move forward with the visas or the financial planning aspect of relocating to Spain.
Yeah, it's always best to have a one-on-one, so then you can personalize the process for that particular person's scenario. Yeah. It's always different to another one, isn't it?
Of course. Well, stage one, we'll speak to the guys at XPay, work out what visa is going to be best for you. Then get in touch. Let's have a chat, see if and how I can help. Guys, we have a pretty good word of mouth and good reputation in both companies. We've been working together a while, but a lot of our business does come from referrals and introductions. So we really encourage, if you know anyone looking to move to Spain or in that initial thought process, to get in touch. We're happy to help. And look, as I said, there's no cost in having that initial consultation, see if and where we can help, and we'll provide you with the best options for you, okay? Guys, any lasting comments before I finish off?
Yeah, just to say that as you just said, we're here and we're happy to answer any questions that people may have, help out with a step guide for them, check sheet they can get in contact for us, and just give them a list to get them started on what we offer and what other services and how the process goes.
Well, as I said, it sounds pretty straightforward in my head. I know there's quite a bit to go through, but that's why we're here, right? Just to ensure we can assist with that process, make it as smooth as possible. I seem to have a lot of people sort of worry or stress about it, and that's why we're here, right? To lean on, take that stress off you and package it all up ready for you to go, as well as the financial planning aspect. Speak to a professional. We deal with this stuff daily, and ensuring your assets are not only set up in the best way possible, but ready for that transition is key. And look, again, the main point is there's no cost in this consultation. So, guys, look out for your emails. It'll be with you early tomorrow morning once we have the recording of the webinar and the registration report. We'll have contact information available for Venetia and Colin. So please do get in touch. They'll be happy to hear from you. There'll be a link to my diary as well, so feel free to book a slot in my diary and we'll set up a meeting. And as I said, keep us in mind. If there's anyone thinking or in the process of moving, do get us in touch, and we'd love to hear from them. But guys, we'll leave it at that. Look forward to speaking to you guys. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the sun, and we'll catch up soon, guys.